So one of the things that commonly we will animate or we'll see going through our images are comets. So this is a simple black and white or grayscale GIF animation of a comet. Nice and smooth. Now, when you do your images, I would say if you collect 10 hours of data, you will see things going through your images that are not stars. And so we're going to talk about how do you animate those. Let me bring up another one. Here's another animation. This is one I did on the eclipse. And they're all kind of done the same way. They're all kind of time-lapse done in Photoshop, where we show the transition of an object in our screen, or in this case, an eclipse. Comet. Let me bring up one more. This is the one I'm going to show you tonight. Now, it could be kind of hard to see, but I collected data for over 5 days. And let me just expand the screen. And up over here. See that little guy? So each one of those segments is a night's worth of data that I collected and animated. And that's the end of it. And then it will play over and over and over again. Obviously, there are jumps between the different days because we can't do this during the day. So we're going to show exactly how I did the GIF animation for this particular asteroid going through our scene. Let me close that down. And let's start off with PixInsight. So when you do PixInsight, you end up registering all your images. And there's a nice little function that you can use called blink. We all use blink usually to assess the quality of our images, to throw out those that are obviously bad that we don't want to process. But you can do some other things with the blink animation. So let's bring that up. So I've taken a crop of the images from one day from that particular asteroid going through my scene. So I'm going to open those up. And they should be right here. So these are the different subs from one particular day. I don't want that one. Oh, here they are. So let's open all of those. So in this case, these are the registered calibrated images. I probably should have only opened a few of them, but let's cancel out and do this again. Let's open just a few. So what do we get here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, we got 11. Now, if we play through these, all being registered images, you'll see our little asteroid moving. See it? Ah, a plane flew through it. Can we see it up there? Is it obvious, or do I have to expand it? Let me just blow that up. No, I think I can't do both. So let's go back. Can we see the asteroid up there in the upper left? Now, if you notice that down to the lower left of that one, you see a little asteroid as well. And when you look closely, especially at the luminosity images, you'll see a lot of things flying through your images. There's actually a third one. I'll put my pointer on it. See this guy right here? Oh, we have 3. But we're really looking at the big one, big guy right here. Now, I think there were 20 or 30 images, but we're only going to do a few because it takes a little time to do the processing that I want to do. So what do we do next? We have to generate a series of images that we can take into Photoshop, and we can animate using the GIF process. And Blank has a nice little function down here. And it's a video. It will crop and create a video. Now, I'm not interested in the video, but if I punch that button, it'll turn these linear images. These are not stretched at all, but they're registered and they're balanced. It's going to create little JPEGs, which I can move into Photoshop and do the animation. So basically, by going through your regular processing, ending up with registered images, you can create the default stretched images that you can use for an animation for an object going through your scene. So I punch this little crop and create. Hopefully you can see that. And it's going to create, this is the program which we're not going to use. You're going to put an output directory. So let's just create one. Let's call these new folder. JPEG 2. Select folder, and if I punch the button here, run, it'll create those, I think 11, calculating the blank. This will take probably less than a minute. Hopefully less than a minute. Now, obviously, if I'm going to do 30 or 40, it takes a little more time than that. When it gets to the end of the process, see, it's creating the JPEGs over here on the left on the process console. Then it will try to create a video. I'm not interested in an MPEG video. I'm interested in the JPEGs that it's going to create. Then I can then move into Photoshop and create the animation. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we got 3 more to do. Yeah, it's failed to create the MPEG, but I don't care about that. Okay, we're done. We've created default stretched images, which show, in this case, an asteroid going through our image that we're going to now animate in Photoshop. So we're done with PixInsight. Now let's bring up Photoshop. Now I have the latest version of Photoshop, but you can do this even if you have version 6 of Photoshop, you can really do the same thing. Some of the menus are a little bit different, but the process is really the same. And if you click on the File menu, there's a series of scripts. And one of the scripts you can run is load files into stacks. So why don't I blow that screen up so you can see it a little better. File, scripts, load files into stack. So we're going to create a stack. And let me get out of here. And I'm going to browse to upload those 11 files. There's my JPEG 2 folder. I'm going to open that up. And there are our default stretched images. I'm going to put those in there. And I'm going to say, OK. I don't want it to line up because they're already registered. And now it's going to create. This will probably take another less than a minute. It's going to create a stack. And those stacks are going to be those images that we just default stretched into PixInsight. And there should be 11 of them. Obviously, I can't do all 30 of them because that would take too long for our presentation. In the meantime, any questions come up? Oh, we got a jet going through that.
Nothing yet. I guess I have a question actually.
Yes.
Do you just look for things, look for movers when you're blinking through your through your frames, or is
Okay.
there, what way do you look for things moving in your frames?
Well, I mean, we all blink through our frames. I mean, that's the first thing we do when we move them into PixInsight, is we look through to see things that we should be throwing out. And you will see things moving through your frame. Mostly they're small asteroids, and the stacking process will just eliminate those. Actually, when I stacked these up, I got kind of a blur, and I went back and looked, and what is that blur? And then when I blinked through the registered images, I said, oh my God, that's something big there. And that is one of the brightest asteroids in our solar system. Okay, now you know that.
And Eric, you can do this with eclipse pictures or anything, any pictures where
Right,
you've got motion.
Right, the animation process, you can stack up anything that has movement in it, and you can create a GIF animation with that. But now we have our little stack. And you see down at the bottom, let me just blow this up so you can read that as well. Just the menus in Photoshop can be a little bit small. I've opened up this timeline menu, and I think in version 6 it has a different name. And I can create a frame animation. That's an animation of those 11 frames just by clicking this button right here. And then if I go over here, again, the expanded menu, you see this little menu over here? And all I have to do is say make frames from layers. Okay, I got my layers, make frames from it. And there is my animation. Let me get out of the expanded menu. And if I play it, there's a little play button down here. And there's our 11 frames. And there's a jet going through it too. Sorry about that. Now, I'm going to stop this because it's going backwards. The asteroid's going the other way. So there's a simple menu command over here which says reverse frames. Now it will play forward. Now remember when I did this a while back, I collected 5 days worth of data, and the animation went from here all the way to there, each day being kind of a series. And I don't know if you can see it. Let me expand that up so we can see those little asteroids. See, there's one right here. See that guy?
That's a separate object. It's not
That's
some
a
kind of weird
separate object.
reflection.
And here's another one. Here's another one. And as you look closely in these things, you see all sorts of. I once had 12 different asteroids going through the frame. So let's escape out of there. Now, I'm getting irritated by that jet going through here, so I can easily just delete. I'm going to delete that frame. Delete the frame. That's kind of bothersome. And you see we have all sorts of streaks going through it, but that's probably what you see in any data collection. You're always going to see those things. So what do we do now? Well, there's a couple things that I routinely do. I generally have a start and an end. And to do that, I generally change the timing of each of these frames you see down below. So let me expand that out and I'll show you how that works. See where here it says 0 seconds. So it's going to go as fast as it possibly can. So I like to have the beginning, let's say a couple of seconds. And at the end, I'll have another couple of seconds. So it'll pause on each time it plays. So now we have the beginning, pause for 2 seconds, go to the end. Now this is kind of a quick animation, 1, 2, and then it plays. Then it goes back, 1, 2, and then it plays. Now this is more interesting when you have like 5 days worth of data, when you're your head is spinning a little bit and you want to see what's happening at the beginning versus the end. And what I usually do in the beginning is I'll put a little bit of text right over one of the layers saying, no, let's stop this. I can just take a little bit of text, use the text tool, and just put it right here. And I can put the so I can put things like the name and the date of the animation. Now that's on top of all those different frames. And so now that will be everywhere. And so next time I play it, it's going to show that bit of text. Oh, I would happen to put it right on top of the asteroid, would I? So let's move this little guy around. So I don't actually have that data, although I can look it up pretty quickly. But that information is really useful when people are looking at animation. They want to know what are the objects that they're seeing, what is the information, when you can collect it, and you can put that right on top. You can also make it part of a particular frame, so it only shows for, say, the 2 seconds that the first frame is playing or the last frame is playing. Or you can have like 10-second introduction. I'm just going to eliminate that. So before this thing, let's just save this. Oh, let's see. So this is asteroid animation 2.
A question from Chandrasekhar Nori.
Sure.
Do we only see asteroids in the zodiac constellations? So in the ones that are in the plane of the solar system?
I don't know. But you can see these 2 asteroids, the 2 smaller ones, they're coming in at different angles. So I suspect I have seen asteroids in just about every collection of data I have where there are a bunch of stars. So I think anytime you're anywhere around the Milky Way, you're going to see asteroids, sometimes more than others.
And a question from me, what's a good way to find out what the object is that's going through your image, what asteroid it is?
You can look it up
In the
NEO catalog, Near Earth Object Catalog. There are several of them online. You can put in its coordinates and it'll tell you exactly what asteroid. So you got to put in the coordinates and the time and date, and it will tell you what asteroids and how bright they are. Awesome. So and that's how I found out. Actually, this one was easy to find out because it was in Stellarium, and I just looked it up. It was also in my Guide 9 program. But if it's a minor one, so when I first started doing this, I actually said, well, this might be an asteroid that's going to destroy the Earth. So I looked that up, that maybe I discovered something new. It turns out there are millions of these things out there, and they've all been discovered. And they're finding hundreds of new ones every month. So you're not going to discover anything new. But it is kind of cool to look it up and identify it. So let's stop this animation. Now, how would you like to put color into this? And how are we going to do that? Well, it's actually fairly easy. Let's make sure this is it's already an RGB image. And I'm going to open up the color image, the thing that I actually posted online with all the RGB colors. And I cropped it down to just fit this field of view. And it is, let's see, where is this one? Oh, here we go. So I think I did one that was actually cropped. Let's see if I did that. No matter. We'll crop it for it. So this is my color version. And I'm going to make a copy of this. And I'm going to paste it on top of my animation. Nope, don't want to do that. Let me do one thing before we. Now let's do this again. Copy the image, paste it on top. And let's make this less than 100% so we can align it. And now very quickly, let me just crop it so we don't have a bunch of other stuff around. So now we have the color image, but we don't have our asteroid. So what are we going to do? We're going to change the way this image reacts with the images, the layers below it, and call it color. So it's just coloring it. And now we have a color image with the asteroid going through it. Any questions so far?
I've got one.
Sure.
Does Blink work with color images?
Does Blink? Sure, if you have color images to start with.
I've never tried it.
You do have to the keyword, the Bayer pattern keyword has to be in the metadata of the file. So like for my ZWO images, I've never gotten those to display in color in Blink because the Bayer keyword is not in the metadata, but my DSLR images will display in color in Blink. So it depends on whether that keyword is present.
Okay, so now we have a finished color image with at least 3 objects, including a big asteroid going through it. So now we have to save it. We have our animation down below. We've saved the image, and now we just have to generate our GIF. And under the export menu, save for web legacy. I have no idea what that means, but that's a command which will take you into the menu to generate the animated GIF. It's thinking for a minute. You see the little temperature bar down below. And when it gets done, it will be able to be saved as an animation. And you see that I've already selected, so here's 256 colors. You can select less to make it a little smaller. Here's our GIF animation. Usually the defaults are pretty good for the GIF file. And now if we hit save, it will produce the animated GIF. Now, the problem with saving some of these big animated GIFs is that they're really too large to post on AstroBin. Or if they are, they might be 20 megs. And, you know, that's pretty difficult to post and pretty difficult to download from AstroBin. But here, I don't know, let me just blow this up a little bit. See where it says pixels here, image size? If I change that, and these are linked, it will make the picture smaller and the animation smaller too. And oftentimes when you have a big animation, let's say like a full screen with a bunch of asteroids going through it, it's really too big to post. And so you just make it a lot smaller. Now, I'm not going to do that now because I want a big animation. So if I just hit save, asteroid animation 2. And in a few seconds, it will save the GIF animation and go back to the regular image. No other questions? Because we're going to play our GIF animation. Okay, it's done.
Nothing else.
Ta-da. And over here on the other menu is the GIF animation, which, well, here are the 5 days. I don't know, why don't I blow that up so you can see how all 5 days went. So this is Europa, which I think is the 3rd largest asteroid in our solar system. And we can see it moving. See the little, there's Europa. And that's the last day.
It's very
By the way, it was just fortuitous that it was there. I saw it the first day and wondered what that was. And here it is in day one. Okay, let's stop that. And where's our, let's say, asteroid animation? Let's put up the one we just did. Wait 2 seconds. Play the frame. That's it.